What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got a Digimon coming who I knew about. This is a Digimon I'd heard about for a while because, well, to be perfectly blunt, ladies and gentlemen, it is one of the more notorious Digimon you will find, I think is probably a polite way to put it. What we've got is the TCG debut of Gundramon, which seems to literally just be a big pile of guns with a face. Cool. It's also a new level 6 black Digimon that looks really rather fun. Now, our translation today comes from the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming, and if we start off having a little bit of a look at the basics, we've got an 11 cost to play normally, which is standard. 4 cost to Digivolve, which is one more than normal, that is slightly more expensive than we would generally think. And 11,000 power, which is standard. Essentially, what we're looking at here is a Digimon which is slightly more expensive to Digivolve than we would generally want. Okay, but don't worry, it's got a really good Digivolution skill. There we go. It's also got Blocker. It is a level 6, 11,000 power blocker. And the fact of the matter is, on the one hand, this is really good. On the other hand, it's not terribly unique. I mean, the good thing about having a level 6 blocker is that anytime your opponent attacks with a non-level 6, you've got an answer. Of course, remember that if you block on your opponent's turn, you will then become active for your turn, so it's not like you're giving up an attack or anything along those lines. So that's rather nice. The thing is, we've got level 6 black blockers. Like, it's not exactly terribly unique to have a level 6 in black with blocker. I mean, we've seen Gundramon back in BT2, which also naturally has reboot, so you can attack on your turn, make yourself active, block on your opponent's turn, make yourself active, etc. Or unsuspend is a real term. And sure, don't get me wrong, if you want to have reboot as well, you can Digivolve up from Toy Agamon, who will give you that same skill. But the point is that Gundramon naturally has it. We also saw Machinedramon in BT2, that when you play, D-Digivolves 2 to 2 of your opponent's Digimon, while also having blocker, which is kind of cool. We've seen Craniumon in BT3, that also says that Digimon with blocker cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So, frankly, yeah. Oh, and also Bancho Golemon, which on your opponent's turn, while your opponent has 3 or more Digimon in play, you gain 3,000 power. So my point is here, that if you're looking for a blocker, and you want a level 6 black Digimon, there are plenty of options. What we need is not another level 6 black blocker, it is a level 6 black blocker. Man, that's a little bit of a tongue twister. Which has got something else going for it. Which has got something else to make us go, oh, actually, yeah, maybe that'll work. Well, the good news is that what we've got here is a skill that reads, when you Digivolve, reveal 5 cards on the top of your deck, play an option card with a cost of 7 from among them without paying its cost, and then trash the remaining cards. If you can't play an option card with this effect, destroy one of your opponent's Digimon with a cost of 4 or less. And this can be amazing, and it can also be rather underwhelming, I think is fair to say. Obviously here, the first question we need to ask ourselves is, alright then, black option cards, 7 cost, what have you got? And the answer is, as it stands at the moment, if you're looking for a black option card that costs exactly 7 to play, we don't have one. I'm searching over at digimoncard.dev, a wonderful website for doing some research into the Digimon TCG. As it stands at the moment, there is no such thing as a black option card with a cost of 7 from among them. Now, the good news is, and this is a translation we've got from Ensan Gaming, and they're pretty gosh darn good at this, there isn't actually a requirement that it be a black option card. which is good, quite frankly. Because if it needed to be a black option card, we would be in a lot of trouble. Now, let's be clear, right? This is being released in the new set. In the new set, we have a black Digimon that lets you play an option card with a cost of exactly 7. There is definitely going to be a black option card with a cost of exactly 7 in this set. I refuse to believe for even a moment that this Digimon gets released in this set without giving us an option card that you can go for. It's like how we saw Hackmon the other day, and Hackmon specifically referred to Jesmon, and we hadn't seen Jesmon yet, but would you believe it, Jesmon just so happened to be in the set, and I mean, annoyingly got revealed like a couple hours after I made the video, so cheers for that. But the point is, it's going to happen. Now, it doesn't have to be a black option card. It can be any option card of a cost of 7. The problem is that if you're doing that, you need to be playing some other colour. As it stands at the moment, if you're looking for exactly 7 cost option cards, you can be going blue, green, purple, red, or yellow. The only colour that doesn't have a 7 cost option card is black. And if we look at the kind of ones we've got, these tend to be super powerful cards. Howling Crusher trashes all Digivolution cards under one of your opponent's Digimon, which is super powerful because it turns, a fully beefed up level 7 into just as if they played it normally. It's a great card. Terra's Cluster returns one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of their deck, trashing all Digivolution cards from that Digimon, which seems like a pretty good card to me. That seems like it can get rid of one of your opponent's biggest threats, which is generally a pretty good thing. We can look at Trump Sword, that just deletes any one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon, no matter who they are. Again, a pretty good option for getting rid of your opponent's most annoying card. Cogita's Breath returns one of your opponent's Digimon to its owner's hands. So again, taking your opponent's biggest threat off the board and just putting it back into their hand. And the point I'm making here is that if you look at a lot of these 7 cost cards, what it actually does, Transcendent Sword, that if you got a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 15,000 power or less, which incidentally, as it stands at the moment, is anything that isn't been boosted. Otherwise, it's 11,000 power or less. But the point is, not only can we say with a fair degree of certainty that there is a black 7 cost option card coming, but it is almost certainly going to be the kind of card that can remove your opponent's biggest threat. Not guaranteed, there are some exceptions, but they are few and far between. Generally speaking, these kind of cards tend to be able to get rid of your opponent's biggest threat. And that's what makes me kind of excited here. If we've got a great card like that, I kind of love this. Because otherwise, what you're essentially doing is trashing the top 5 cards of your deck so that you can delete a 4-cost Digimon. And I don't think that's good enough. Trashing the top 5 cards of your deck, and it is trashing not putting them on the bottom of your deck, they are gone. And don't get me wrong, there are some combos that can be made with this. My boy Gundramon here, that you need to have 5 D-Brigade Digimon at least in the trash, and then when you play it, you can put 5 D-Brigade Digimon back on the top of your deck, gaining 2 memory for each one you put back, which basically makes it a free cost to play, and it's got rush so it can attack straight away. That would be great. That would be a nice combo. We can also take a look at, for instance, Omnimon Zwart, which does Digivolve from black. And when you Digivolve, you trash the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you may play up to 2 black or purple Digimon with a play cost of 8 or less from your trash without paying their memory cost. So essentially you Digivolve into this, do some trashing, so that you can then go nuts with Omnimon Zwart, although don't mill yourself too much, that could go wrong. And when you attack with Omnimon Zwart, you may return 1 level 6 Digimon from your Digivolution cards to your hand, and delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a play cost of 12 or less. So clearly the Digivolution skill here, and bearing in mind if you go from the level 6 to the 7 here, you're talking 8 cards from your deck. That is a significant percentage, but you can start rolling along here and getting some combos going. But I think it's got to be like that. I think you've got to have some combo which is making use of the self-milling. Sure, yes, you can obviously go for purple, because purple plays from the trash a lot. But now you're playing some kind of weird hybrid deck, and you may wish to, and if you want to, that's wonderful. But I'm saying we shouldn't rely on having to. So the options are there, but I think it is fair to say at the beginning that this is an awkward card. It's a very good skill, but it can backfire, and it works way better in some decks than others. And now, of course, we go back to the fact that it's got blocker, but it's also got a skill that those other level 6 blockers that you have don't have. And then, of course, we do need to then remind ourselves that we are in the not too distant future almost certainly getting a very good 7 cost to play black option card. And at that stage, things could change quite dramatically. So when that card does get revealed, obviously there'll be a video on this channel. That's kind of what I do. But I will obviously be remembering that Gundramon is here, and we'll be having a conversation. I think we're going to talk about this one again. For now, I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 Wassies because it's a very powerful skill with a very big downside, and a lot of this is based on an assumption that this 7 cost card is going to be good. But I'd like to know what you think, so let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassie Plays.